Okay, this video is about finding marginal cost and marginal revenue from their graphs. Alright, so first of all, we are going to try and estimate the marginal revenue at Q equals 150 from this graph. And we can see this curve right here is the graph of revenue, where we have quantity on the horizontal axis and dollars on the vertical axis. So how do we do this? First of all, we realize that marginal revenue is in all cases the same as revenue prime, so R prime. So what we're trying to estimate is R prime of 150 based on the graph. Okay, and we can't get an exact value for this, or that's unlikely. The best we can do is estimate. And so what is R prime of 150? This is the value of the derivative of R at Q equals 150. Alright, and so to find this, what is the derivative? One way we can think of the derivative is the slope of a line tangent to the graph at that point. So in other words, tangent to the graph right here. And so let's try and draw one. If we draw one, then we can figure out, or we can estimate what its slope is. And so let me try and do my best to draw one. Let's see. That looks pretty good. Alright, so now I just have to estimate the slope of this line. So what do I think the slope of this line is? Well, it's the change in y over the change in x. And I can pick any 2 points, so I'm just going to pick the endpoints of the line that I drew. So let's see. It looks like at this end, we're at about 3200 on the y-axis. So let me draw that 3200. And at the other end, it looks like we're at about, say, 1700. So minus 1700. And in the denominator, we want the change in x, and it looks like we went from, let's see, on the right, it looks like we're at 250, and on the left, we're at 50. So I have 250 minus 50. And after I simplify this, this is actually equal to 7.5 on the nose. Alright, so we're done with this this task. The marginal revenue of this graph, or of the revenue represented by this curve at Q equals 150, is just about 7.5. Okay, and I suppose I should say that this is not exactly, this is approximately, since we got this from a graph. Okay, so now let's do the same thing for the marginal cost at Q equals 100. And again, this is no different from cost prime at Q equals 100. And then I'll say that this is approximately, since we're getting this from a graph, it's not exact. So again, let's try and draw a line tangent to the curve, to this curve, the cost curve, at Q equals 100. So let's see, maybe I'll start right here and try to get tangent to this guy, and that looks pretty good. Okay, so let's do the same thing that we did before. On the top, I should have, what's this point? This is at 1500, and at this point I'm at 500. So on the top here, I should have, I should have 1500 minus 500. And on the bottom, what should I have? I should have the change in x, which is 250 minus, let's say this is around 25. So 250 minus 25. And if we simplify this, we get an approximation. This is about 4.44. And let's take 1 minute to note what units these are in. Well, the units on the y-axis are dollars, and the units on the x-axis or the horizontal axis are it's Q, so it's in units. So these are both in dollars per unit. All right, and that concludes this video.